Good, Rich.
All right, welcome everybody to the November 14th Fisp meeting. Roll call, everyone's present except Phil and Raj. Is that correct? Yeah. Approval of minutes from October 10th, 2018. Someone get a chance to read them?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain. It wasn't there.
Okay.
Right, October 10th?
You were here.
Were you
No, it
here?
wasn't.
It says you were here.
No, I wasn't. Well, I
No,
wasn't.
Right, it says present, so I guess we'll make that one change.
Yeah.
Okay.
No more changes.
And then November 7th, 2018. That was last Tuesday, last Wednesday, before the
Right,
selectmen's meeting.
before selectmen's meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
All right, senior center, Tony, you're on.
Thank you. Let's see, we'll start with exterior site utilities. Gas is all set, the town has an account. We're waiting for water, which was chlorinated today, passed all the inspections, should get water into the building now. We'll be able to get the gas company out there to fire up the boilers, turn some heat on in the building, which will be good. Primary electric service is in. And we're currently trying to coordinate with West Boylston Muni Light to pull the fiber in, but as we've discussed, there's many days of wet weather out there. And right now, again, the pull box for the fiber installation is underwater. Hoping to pump that out before Friday's deluge comes in again, and we'll start it all over again next week. Next week looks dry, Tuesday through Friday, so I emailed Jonathan, and hopefully we can plan something for a Tuesday, Wednesday of next week to get the fiber into the building. Paved surfaces are ongoing, again, sporadically in between the weather, but driveway, major parking lots have good binder coat down. The contractor informed us last week that he's not going to be able to get the finish coat of pavement on, and so he's probably pushing final pavement and landscaping until the spring. He'll work up schedule of what specific items need to be deferred until April, but given the current weather and the onset of cold weather, likely our planting season is done for the year, and it won't make much sense to put top coat down on the pavement as well. So making some of those provisions so that that work moves out to the spring.
Is that gonna cause drainage issues?
It should not cause any drainage
You were
issues.
saying that some of the drains are...
There's one rim cover that's up that pitches off the back. Everything else rolls off the front into the detention area over the grass surfaces. Good news is all our paved areas are not holding any water. They're not ponding anywhere. So that means they've all got a good positive pitch to them as they are now. But we are looking at what other site issues need to be buttoned up over the next couple weeks before winter really sets in.
So does that seeding include the field?
Yeah, that won't happen until spring.
So that probably wouldn't be able to be used at all next year if it's, season starts April.
Probably not.
We'll have to contact the Parks Commission.
How much are they, is just T-ball using it, and are they still...
No, T-ball doesn't use it anymore, but they use it for other things. So we'll have to tell the Parks Commission that if it's seeded at the beginning of the year, in April, that won't take by May.
Right. Well, they actually say you should let it go an entire growing season, but most people don't.
So we'll just make a note to tell the Parks Commission.
So again, hope for an early spring, hope for a warm spell right now. You'd get something, whatever's out there to grow. But yeah, we're hoping just to get the trenches closed up and the grade level off out in the ball field area at this point. Monthly report was sent to the planning board, and I actually got an email back from one of the members saying he got it, and thank you for the report. Inside the building, or the exterior of the building versus the site, Siding is probably 95% done. Guys were out there today, they're working on the gutters and downspouts, wrapping up the outside of the building. The trim is probably 95% done on all of the exterior trim, waiting for the columns to come in. Prepping still, they poured the front porch concrete area last week. Prepping, hopefully next week we get a couple of above freezing days. They'll get that concrete slab poured around the building and the walkways. The storefront glass entry doors went in over the past couple days and they look really nice. They're putting the patio pavers in over the next couple days. They started today. That's going in on the side of the building that exits out of the great room. Looking very nice, I think, in your herringbone pattern that you picked. Herringbone pattern on a 90-degree herringbone, so that's going in. Inside the building, they're hanging light fixtures, so they're moving from rough into actual hanging fixtures. Sprinkler heads are all in. Drywall is up. There's a first coat of tape and compound on everything. Get the heat fired up. They'll be moving in a finished millwork probably next week, trimming out windows and building out window casings and interior millwork items.
Tony, they're using what are they using for temporary heat?
There's no heat in the building right now.
So they're not doing any more drywall after?
No, but it's been maintaining about 50 degrees in there. It probably won't over the next couple days, but we expect to have heat on very shortly. So everything will get up to temperature and they will continue working. Last big item is the pump house for the fire protection system, and that's due hopefully right after Thanksgiving. And they bring that in on a flatbed and a crane and connect it, plumb it, and off we go. And that's the report.
What are we looking as a completion move-in date?
So they plan on turning the building over certificate of occupancy the end of February, and then coming back, depending on weather, in April and finishing up landscaping and paving.
What's the holdback that we allow for that then? Is it gonna be the
It's
amount?
cost of the work.
Is that enough?
That's ideally what you do, is you're not paying for anything that's not done. You get the contractor's percentage of overhead and profit and everything else that you're holding, and they'll be back.
We have a 5 or a 10% retainage.
5%.
So are we talking we're gonna withhold the cost of the work plus the entirety of the 5% retainage until he's done with that, or?
No, the different subcontractors who are considered filed sub-bid contractors, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, a lot of those guys, as they're done,
Then you release
and as
their
the
retainage.
architect goes through their punch list, then you'll release their specific retainage, but you'll still have 5% on RAC, which is a bulk of the other work. You cannot hold the filed sub-bids retainage on anything that's not an actual certified punch list item.
So we'll actually have substantially more
You'll have
owed
significantly
to
more money.
RAC than the work that's left to be done.
Correct, and the paving and landscaping, those trades are not filed sub-bid trades. So you'll see the whole breakdown of that. By the time we get to substantial completion, you'll have a punch list, you'll have the monetized punch list broken out by how much of each trade, plumber, mechanic, electrical, painter, whoever's money you're holding, and then you start releasing their money as their work is complete.
So ballpark, when they turn over the occupancy certificate, how much will be left to be paid at that point?
I'll know that for our next meeting when we see the schedule of what work they're kicking down the road.
Ballpark? I mean, is it too hard to estimate?
Yeah, I don't have that information in front of me. It's all of whatever the landscaping is, all of whatever the paving is, and then minus the electrical and plumbing and mechanical. I couldn't even guess right now. Right now, our retainage is about 150,000. 5% of the 4 million is 200. So maybe you're gonna have 200, if I had to guess. Reduction of retainage plus the work that's not done might get you back to that 200 range.
Okay.
So Tony, on the landscaping and the parking lot to be finished, is there a certain time frame that has to be completed? Like even, let's say it's great weather, do we say by May 1st it's completed, or?
They'll give us a schedule,
They will, okay.
Yeah.
And if they don't abide by it, then,
then we get liquidated damages.
okay.
Yeah.
But this falls under, hey, we had no control over weather, and the contract says that.
Right.
We don't, this is not,
It's not our
It's
fault,
not their
it's not
fault.
your
It's
fault
nobody's
either.
right.
fault, right.
This
But they
is-
still have to get it done.
Well, understood, but there's no, hey, you didn't meet this deadline because it got cold, it got rain. There's-
Well, they didn't meet the deadline because it got cold now, but a deadline could have been, they set their own deadline. They could have paved the site 6 weeks ago.
The problem now is the plant's closed.
No,
I just don't want to wait, I don't want to wait 6 months is what my whole
I
point
can't
is.
imagine, they're gonna want
No.
that couple hundred.
They want their money,
Right,
everybody wants to
right.
get paid and get out of here, and they want their warranties started, and everybody wants to
Right.
move on.
I just want to, yeah, that's why I was asking.
Does the warranty on the building starts when they turn it over, but then
Correct.
the pavement and the landscape?
Your landscape would be a year from when it's installed.
All right. John doesn't have an architect report, but he did, the signage is in your thing.
We
Everybody,
gotta change that.
this is gonna be final approval. So if anybody sees any mistakes, let us know.
You said it's a final approval.
Can we move council and agent down?
No, no.
I'll make a motion to approve the sign as presented.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, review and approval of phone and IT proposal. You wanna come on up and introduce yourself? Lisa, you wanna come up? So you don't care? Okay.
Just-
So right in the end
Oh,
there,
you sit right
just
here.
introduce yourself and.
Paul McKenzie, one of the owners of Sam Geeks. We picked up the town in July, and now we're just getting involved in this. So I found an old proposal that Karen did, and we've modified that based on the needs we've discovered since then. Do you want me to just go through the list?
Yeah, just give me a second to get copies out here.
Okay, good.
Everyone's got one now?
So this is for the phone system and the IT
Correct.
system. And this is originally in the budget. Okay.
So the first two items, the facility will have an internet connection. The first item is the firewall for that internet connection to protect everything that's behind it. This firewall will also allow us to build a second network, which will be the Wi-Fi network. So the patrons of the senior center will be on a different network. The fiber will connect the senior center back here, so that the senior center employees will be in the West Boylston Windows domain. They'll share all those resources as well. And the firewall gives us that functionality to separate that traffic so that we keep the town secure, and to also protect all the equipment from the internet. The second one is a cheap rack mount kit, so that's just, this firewall is a little bit smaller than a 19-inch rack, so this just allows us to mount that firewall in the 19-inch rack that's going to be installed. Questions on that equipment, or? Good. Second piece is a Dell network switch. So all of the office drops will connect back to that network switch, and that will form the network that's there, that local area network. It will also support the fiber connections that's going to connect into that switch and link them back to here. So that's basically the hub for the network.
How many ports are on that switch?
It's right, that's a 48-port switch, plus the 4 fibers. A little bit of overkill, but you never know what technology is going to bring. Transceivers, those are what will translate the light signals to actual electrical signals into the switch. So those actually plug into the switch and convert to the fiber. So that when you get the little ups and downs, which is, a 1 or a 0, it sends a light pulse out across the fiber. So that comprises the active network equipment.
On that transceivers, can you explain the last sentence? Yes, they are commercial. Is that need to know the length? We need to
Need to
plan?
know the length, so
What?
I
Do I
don't
need to give you a
believe,
length somewhere?
pretty much whoever's installing the fiber, if they could tell us what we need, just so we make sure we meet that. I mean, fiber will typically go 2 kilometers. It's more than 2 kilometers to the senior center, so they must be repeating those light signals in their
So
infrastructure.
you need to know the length of the fiber run into the building from the next repeater.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
Cindy, else understand that?
Sounds good to me.
and if they've got any
Great, Doug.
spec on what they need for a transceiver, we will deliver that to Dell and we'll get a transceiver that matches.
I'm expecting or guessing that Jonathan will be able to tell me how much fiber he's installing. He knows what length he's,
You're not gonna go measure it?
no.
All right.
Any questions on the active network equipment?
If it's more than a driver distance, I'm screwed anyway.
Computers, originally Karen calls for 5, and talking with Lisa, she says only 4. These are for employees. These will be the ones that join the West Boylston domain, and we'll have resources to all the town resources within that domain.
You're sure that's enough? That's all you need?
The original plan called for,
I'm sorry, so these are just the employee ones, the other ones for the computer room, that's separate than this? But do they do any wiring for those, or do they need to know those other ones?
they'll be wired, so what we'll do is, the Dell switch will be broken into VPNs. One VPN will be for the public side, or the patron side, the other one will be for the town side, and it'll participate in the same network.
But those aren't gonna be hardwired, those are gonna be on the wireless? The ones in the...
Are we
We can go
buying
either way, we can wire them or go wireless.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. We are buying more computers for the computer room, right?
The
For the public.
laptops, yeah.
Well,
There won't be any, towers or anything.
Oh, it's just you're buying laptops?
Yes.
So
Now, they're
we'll-
not in this
Is that the
proposal.
No.
Okay.
No, that's a computer lab, that's a different thing. and,
So where's that money coming from?
Donations.
Any other questions on computers?
I got a question. Why are you going with laptops if they're gonna be stationary at the senior center? You can get more computing power for less money if you get towers.
We have a,
And bigger screens for seniors.
Yeah.
you could do one of these. We have a person that comes in once a month, a tech person that helps all the seniors. And everybody's bringing in their own laptops or their iPads or their phones. So he's convinced us that having a tower will not be needed because nobody's going to use them. It seems to be the way of the future, so.
I guess, I don't know who's telling you this, but I would disagree. Every time you go into a library or you go into anywhere, the ones the public use are usually big screens, I just think that the ones you're buying, there's just more chance of things going wrong than breaking. If you have 4 stations in this room, people can work on those. I don't know, if anybody.
The question I have is, shouldn't we just put wiring there just in case, if you want to go to a station?
Well, I guess they're gonna do.
The wiring will be there, the building's well wired.
But that's what I'm thinking, if you wanted to hardwire.
Plug them all in? Okay,
There's plugs around the rooms.
okay. No, for the internet,
But if you're doing training tables like this, we don't have drops or plugs in the floors, and it's not set up for that type of, 10 computers on a table. There's wall outlets.
For that room, which it would be in theory computing intensive, how many jacks are in the room?
Don't recall.
Lisa, are you planning on using this as a training setup?
No, this is a very flexible room. It's going to be multi-purpose. It's going to be a classroom and yoga studio and computer lab for the tech guy. And, it's not going to have stationary tables and training sessions like you used to see. That's not very popular anymore. everything that we've seen in news centers and statistics, so.
So with a jack, do you need more, each one has to be independent all the way back?
Each jack is a home run back to the head end room.
So you don't know how many are over there?
I don't.
I mean, the entire building, I think it was 26 or
It's
so.
26 or 27 in the entire building.
We have floor walls on that room,
What, is there a plug in each wall? Is there a jack in each
At
wall?
least.
at least.
Okay.
So what do you buy the laptops for, in case somebody doesn't have one?
In case somebody doesn't have one, or if there is gonna be some kind of classroom situation, we are planning on lifelong learning classes, so they might be using for that. So a lot of people would probably do their own too, so.
I mean, you're gonna wanna have some in there for the casual user that's
Yes.
gonna go look something up. Can I ask, how much are you budgeting for these computers that you're getting from donations?
That, right now,
Yeah.
5,000.
So it'll get you 4 laptops with no monitors.
Laptop, we're thinking 2 laptops, at least an iPad.
If they thought about it, they're happy with it, I guess.
It's your call, if you think that'll do it. I would consider spending some serious money on monitors so that the text can be whatever size people want. Seniors working off of laptops is tough.
I've seen it go both ways. I mean, it's a big building. The nice thing about a laptop, you can get a couple of seniors. One senior wants to show a senior something, they can go off, go into a corner with a laptop. Just, if they're hardwired in their towers, they're stuck where they're at. May not be as comfortable, as flexible. So, I mean, I can see it go either way.
I also
You know,
think
and then,
security is a little, make sure they don't forget and walk out the door with it.
There's always a
Well-
risk with portable equipment that that's happened. That's why in
True.
libraries, you see towers and they're locked and,
Right.
we deal with a lot of libraries and they lock their stuff all up because, but again, different clientele,
All right. Yes.
Any more questions on computers? Okay, Ring Central. So we're going to go with Ring Central to phone system. The original proposal called for them to connect with the phone system here. Lisa says, really, a cordless phone is invaluable because she spends a lot of time wandering around. She likes the flexibility of having a phone and be able to wander around with a phone. I called the manufacturer of the phone switch here and they said, nope, we don't support cordless phones. Won't do it. So that's why we went with a Ring Central, which is a hosted system. All the PBX equipment is a system in the cloud. So it's part of your monthly fee. The actual phone cost is $131 a month. First year is we got to buy the phones. There'll be 2 cordless phones. The two numbers will ring on both phones simultaneously. There'll be 4 handsets that can be scattered around. We could grow up to 8 handsets if we needed more handsets to spread around the facility. There's 2 lines, one for the alarm system and another one for the fax. Lisa says she needs a paper fax just for the seniors, to be able to fax a piece of paper and stuff. So there's a total of 4 lines that will actually have devices attached to them. Then there's a main number, which will be your auto assistant. Say, welcome to the West Boylston Senior Center, press extension 1, contact Lisa, extension 2, blah, 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 blah. You can have messages, press 3 for information. If you want to listen to, the event we're having on November 13th, press 4. We can do all that. Voicemail will be all recorded in the cloud, be sent via email, or they can get to it from the phone. Each line, that's a phone line, so Lisa's and her assistant's line is also a fax line. It's also, you can send text. So they could actually use their business lines to text if they want, fax, and make phone calls. So I think it's a nice system. The number I budgeted was the first year's cost, total cost. So that's the dial tone plus the phone purchases.
So what's the year 2 cost?
Year 2 is $131 a month, so real quick, do the math. Times 12 will give you what year 2 is.
$1,500.
Lisa, on your paper
Yeah.
fax, can I just ask why you wouldn't do that through email? A lot of,
Other services
$130 a
does
month for an
everything
entire
by
pipe,
fax still.
including meetings.
but you
We'd
can
like to
take it
get
away.
away
sorry,
from it,
what?
but they still do it. And then WRTA also does paper fax with their daily schedules for the van drivers.
So that's the only way you can get it, is through
The only-
paper?
I mean, they can send it to me through email, and I
Right,
can do
and then you
that.
could just print it.
But if I'm not there, and somebody else needs to pick it up, you know, then.
Well, you have a
My
photo-
computer's private, so if they send it to me, they don't send it to anybody else, and nobody else right now, other than Nancy, is allowed to get the manifest, so I keep it that way.
What
So
about
we-
copy machine?
Yeah, we have a photocopy that does the faxing, and we have a separate fax machine.
I have a separate.
It can be a
fax
photocopier, anything that accepts a regular phone line.
You're planning on still having a photocopier?
machine.
I
Yeah,
mean, just a fax machine?
yeah.
So you're not planning on any permanent phone stations?
Permanent.
Just
code.
two mobile phones, and that's all you're
Cordless
planning?
phones?
Yeah.
No.
4.
You're gonna have
Two handsets,
So there'll
4
be two
lines.
handsets and two bases. So the bases don't actually have a phone, okay? So all they do is accept the phone call and transmit it off to its handsets. So if you've got a cordless phone at home, it's very similar to something that has a base and something that has a remote base. The only thing, the base is just there, gets power over Ethernet, boots up, talks to the PBX, it's hosted in the cloud, accepts signals from that and sends it to handsets. So.
So where are the two?
Answer your question, no, there's no permanent, like,
Sounds
hardwired.
awfully constraining. I mean, if you have an event, somebody's in the kitchen, needs to talk to vendors.
Over here is the handsets.
If that person's not serving at that time and you call in the kitchen.
But you said we can add additional handsets,
Yeah.
up to 8, I think you said?
Or can you add just a phone on the wall too, up to 8?
It'd be a wireless handset in this situation. So. I
Everything
mean-
has to be wireless because of the system, right?
I mean, we can certainly put a corded phone in there, but now you're looking at the cost of a corded phone when, you know, I mean, it's a big building, but, I mean, you know, 4 handsets, or even if you want to max it at 8, I mean, now you're looking at a handset every, you know, let's see, 1,000 square feet. I mean, and they're flexible where you can put them anywhere. So, yeah, you talked about the kitchen, and somebody's over there, the phone's over there, and that's inconvenient, where they could actually park the handset right next to them.
So for each handset, how much does that add to the cost?
Well, it's a one-time cost, so I think the handsets are running about $80, $90 a piece
Okay, and the 130 a month is
for dial tone
constant regardless
services. It's a
of,
PBX service, it's dial tone, it's, you know,
so up to the 8 lines, it's all the same monthly fee?
yep. 8 handsets.
Is there a max minutes on the,
No, unlimited minutes. I think it includes Canada. You start dialing outside of North America, I believe there's surcharges for that.
Hopefully they won't be doing that.
So Lisa, you're gonna have one with you whenever you're moving around the building, and then somebody else will be assigned one? Or, because it says 2 hands, am I right?
Mm-hmm.
2 handsets, is
Two
that what
bases,
you're?
Yeah, there'll be one in my office and one in the front desk. And the other handsets will be in the, well, there'll be 2 up the front desk and then in the kitchen. But then, as Paul said, if we have to, we can plug a handset into the classroom if we're doing a seminar there and we need a handset, or into the arts and craft room, whatever, you know.
So there's 4 handsets,
Yeah.
So if you're doing this something,
So-
2 bases,
There's 2 handsets.
2 bases with 2 handsets each.
right,
So there's 4 handsets floating around.
So what did you say, we'll
It's not
go
how
into
I
that
was
room
reading
and we'll
it.
plug something in, won't we?
That's
won't we-
not how you
you
read
don't
it.
have to plug anything in, it's a cordless phone. So
That's
as
why I
long as
understand
it's
what it is,
charged-
but I'm just at, she asked, she said,
Well, yeah, but I
well,
can
Is that how
take
you read it
into the
now?
classroom if I'm running a
Not that
seminar.
you-
I'm sorry,
We
Paul.
can-
Are there 4 handsets?
There's 4 handsets.
4 handsets.
Okay.
I don't know, I guess you might have looked at it, I can't believe there's not gonna be 1 or 2
Well,
permanent phones.
I think we have to remember, it's not a business like Cat's business where you're on a phone 24/7. You know what I'm saying? If you put your speakerphone on where you're working and stuff like that, and you're talking to people, so it's a little different. It's a different setup. And I think that's what you're going for.
Right.
I still can't.
So if this call that comes into the town hall, that needs to go to the senior center. What's that process?
Can't be,
They're gonna have to die, they're
You
gonna
need
have
to
forward the
call,
whole-
yada, yada, yada.
I wish it was connected. I would like to have had all the buildings connected.
Is it, would it be a big deal to put a, one or two VoIP sets in the senior center, so they have direct connectivity to this building?
So what, right?
VoIP, with voice over the internet protocol.
Oh,
Basically
it
plugs
could
into
be.
your Cat 6 shack.
I mean, it's possible, but it may be more of an inconvenience than anything else, as opposed to getting people used
It
to.
will only go to that phone and we'll.
It'll only go to that phone, so if Lisa's on the other side of the building, she's not gonna get to that phone in time to answer.
So when you have 4 handsets and the phone rings,
All of them.
all of them ring, so the kitchen may answer it, you may answer it.
Well, technically the front desk will answer it and then relay who it goes to.
And the way they would do that is just say, it's for you.
Well,
No, I don't know, if they're all handsets, do
there
they
an
transfer them, do
we
they?
have
Yes.
intercoms, you
Yeah,
know.
the handsets will
each-
intercom, so you could intercom
So
someone
you
who's
could
not
say,
answering the phone.
pick up your handset and talk, it's yours, it's
Yeah.
your call. So currently, can we transfer to the police station from here?
I'm not sure.
How often does this building get calls for the senior center now?
I've never received a call.
Well, that she's, maybe the main number, you're asking you need her, if she got a call, but I don't know what the main number is,
The town clerk might get that
It's,
more than I
you
do,
know.
but I couldn't tell you.
I think the utility could dial different number. I mean, I know everybody would like to have them connected, but I don't think it's a necessity.
no, I guess I'm thinking, yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
But the computers will be
We don't
networked.
call
here.
to the town hall
Right.
that often.
The
I have
the
to call
employee
the town
computers will
hall.
be networked back.
My employees, my staff, my volunteers, we don't call to the town hall that often.
Right.
And most of our contact is through email ourselves, so.
The computers will be connected, like you just said, right? Okay. So your labor,
Labor, so we're estimating 90 hours, whatever the hourly fee is, it is, we'll cap it at 90, so if we go over 90, we won't charge more than 90.
and that includes the training them, how to use the phones and how to use everything?
I mean, I don't know if you know anything about our support, but we're all inclusive, so, if people have technical support issues, they've got questions, we answer those questions. We do say reasonable, but we typically never call people out unreasonable because they're reasonable within our category. And we want to keep you as a client, you know what I mean? But what we try to do is give a number, especially towns love it, is this is what it costs. Doesn't look at, call us. We're here to help you. We try to partner with everybody. Definitely partner with the senior center. It's a brand new building. It's overwhelming. We're going to be there to help as much as we can to take some of that burden off.
So Tony, how much
It's
do you budget for
overwhelming.
this?
We have $42,000.
Which covers what?
Should have covered more than my stuff.
Just for the
All
phones?
of this.
Just for
plus.
this, doesn't include any other,
It was all the telecom and data. I gotta go back and look at, that was based on the voice over IP system that Karen had put together for us. Computers, phone system, switches, network, software. This is significantly less than what was
You
budgeted.
could let me know what's in the 42, just to make sure we're not missing something?
Yep.
I mean, there may be something that is budgeted in your numbers, that's not budgeted in mine. I'm looking
I
at
will
from
do
the
that.
active equipment.
Yep. But I looked at it earlier. There's 5 or 6 line items, all of which made up phones, computers, network switching, software.
Yeah, the proposal I
Seems
saw
to
with
be
Karen,
here.
I don't really remember, but I thought it was around 18,000, which makes me just wonder what the difference is.
Well, the difference is the 20,000 that we've already spent in wiring.
Okay.
so is there any thought or expectation to any kind of video conferencing with other seniors or group events where they might want to communicate to other centers? Big TV, camera, that kind of thing?
How about something like this, or a projector, or, is that all included in, do you have that?
No,
Well, there are TVs, cable TV, audio video, which is in a different line item than tel data, but that's not here.
So how about like the
But,
computer?
but
room?
it's not teleconferencing either.
Yeah, right. So How about like
That's
the
not
computer
been
room too?
considered.
If someone's putting on a presentation, is that included
We
somewhere else?
have a projector,
We have projectors.
we have a screen.
So the other thing was what
I
Ray
don't
asked.
believe that we have any outside computer interface that you can pick up a signal output from here to televise down there what the meeting is.
And that's.
If you wanted to have an auxiliary meeting area down there to watch Board of Selectmen meeting, I don't think we're set up for that.
And I wouldn't invest a lot in that. I mean, so if you've had two centers that want to communicate and stuff, they should just sign up for a free Google account, use, Google Hangouts, or sign up for Skype, use Skype. I mean, there are plenty of free ways to do video conferencing. That's what I would do, just link it to a projector, project it on the TV. I mean, I came from the old days when teleconferencing was a really big deal, and we'd spend, $40,000 for a room to do teleconferencing because we had a West Coast and an East Coast office, and those days are over, I think, honestly.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking of anything highfalutin, just, a really big monitor or a high-quality projector that ties into a computer that people can connect to. But if you don't have an interest in that.
Well, we have an interest in the ClickShare system still. We want to do that.
What?
The ClickShare?
The one we use here, so they can just plug the computer into it and watch it on.
Right.
I don't know.
So would that be?
If somebody comes with a local, with their own laptop or whatever, they can put it up on the big screen, but they're not calling in from Sterling Senior Center to do video conferencing.
And they probably could, the way he said, through one of those other services, through this. So would ClickShare go into here? Or would it go
That's a
somewhere?
separate line item, I believe.
So should we put it with you guys?
Nobody asked me to budget for ClickShare. I don't know what that is.
Oh, I mean, could we put it under this?
Sure. You can,
Well, can we?
Well, we got them here at the
Yeah,
cable
the PEG
access.
board has all
Oh, you
the
want-
cost information.
Right. I don't remember the cost, I'd have to look at it.
Yeah, no, we asked to get information from you about it a little while ago.
Oh, I don't recall, but yeah, I can get you. Well, do you know about it?
No,
Okay.
I have the vendor to contact, so we have problems there.
Yeah.
All right, we've already identified the ClickShare. Is there any other, if we don't know what's needed, we're not gonna budget for it, it's not gonna happen. Are there any other computer-related things that in your mind you're saying, okay, I know we're getting this, but we haven't discussed today, besides ClickShare?
Other than ClickShare now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
Actually, before you go, just, $131 a month for the lines to feed the service. For any of the other hardware, do you have annual maintenance contracts of any kind that we need to budget?
Not initially, so the 40gate's gonna come with a 3-year service contract, it's gonna support all the antivirus subscriptions and, the hardware support. The Dell Switch will come with a 3-year warranty. The computers, if I can, I'm gonna budget them, with 5-year, if not, they'll be 3. And, there's no hardware with Ring Central other than the phones, and the phones, their costs are insignificant, so.
And software for the computers, are you loading them with Office, or what do you?
Yep, they'll be running, the standard version, or the current version of Office, which will be 2019 by the time we buy it.
So not Office 365, you're gonna buy a fixed copy?
Yeah, unless you want to go to E3 licenses, which are like $20 a month, so that's a, buy your $200 Office thing and, 10 months of E3, they're paid for, you know what I mean?
Okay.
anything else, Rick? Thank you.
Good.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, that's it, to see you soon.
Yep, all set.
I do have one thing, Jonathan Fitch called me from the light plan, and he said they voted, which I had no idea they were doing, and they voted to waive the fees in the material for the fiber cable, and that's, how much does that say, Mr. Tony?
fiber and three-phase is approximately $100,000.
Wow.
That's a huge.
Oh, light plant.
His quotes to us last year were about 48 and 47 respectively, So it's almost 100 grand that we had
My rate better
budgeted.
not go up.
Well, and he's putting it into his long-term operating budget, and we're paying for it one way or another.
One way or
But
the other.
it still helps us in the budget.
Right.
It's a huge help. And
That's
I would-
great that
with the
they
bo-
did
with the
that.
board, I'd like to send them a letter, if it's okay with everybody, and,
Yeah.
thank them, and, you know, is
Absolutely.
that okay with everybody?
Yeah.
Please.
In your packet that I had prepared, you've got the typical monthly budget report. You'll see about halfway down, a line item for utility assessments that now has $100,000 positive variance to it.
Right, on the-
Package, uses
That
like color
way
stuff.
the fee and the time material,
Oh, good.
so it's like $100 savings.
Not like one, it is one.
It is. That's great, that's absolutely fantastic. All right, so the, police station,
Do we need to vote on this?
oh yeah,
I'll make a motion to approve the contract with CM Geeks.
Second?
any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Planning board requirements for the as-built fence, we've asked Butch Jackson to write a letter, and I think, is there a copy?
There is.
I thought there was in the
Yeah.
packet, yeah.
Everybody get a chance to read the letter that he wrote, and we're gonna present it to, I would assume Ryan will give it to the planning board tonight. Are they meeting tonight,
Yes, I haven't looked at the
Josh
schedule.
is in the building, so.
Yeah,
I'm
they're,
assuming he's
they're
not.
set up, they're set up. to meet us.
So that should take care of that issue, as far as I'm concerned.
So what's the resolution here?
They want us, the planning board want us to put the fence on the as-built for the police station. And it's not part of the police station. The fence we put up is for the neighbors, it's on the neighbor's property. And it says right in the letter, they're responsible for maintenance and anything else on it. So we can't ask the engineer to put it on the as-built for the police station. It's not part of the police station.
Okay.
You would have to as-built the private neighbors' properties.
Yeah, I get it. I don't know how many meetings this has been part of,
So we-
far too many.
So we asked Butch to write a letter last meeting, and that's the results of the letter, and I would assume they're allowed to present it tonight. Hope he does. If not, we should send him a copy just in case.
I'll send it to,
Yeah.
I'll send it to the full planning board tomorrow.
Okay, all right. And then, they did a little bit of maintenance on the police station, didn't they?
Yes, they have been down doing continued punch list items on some of the drywall repairs that moved during the heating and cooling of the first season of the building. They'll be in there next week, probably touching up the paint and some other things, but yes, still continuing with punch list as the year closes out on the police station.
No further issues with the elevator?
No further issues with the elevator.
And the
Heating
heat?
and cooling problems seem to all have balanced themselves out now. Not that it just balanced itself out, but they were able to deal with software, heating and cooling zone changes.
So the room that was too hot when the other one was too cool has been.
No complaints as of today when I spoke to Sergeant Papandrea.
That's good news.
Wait till tomorrow.
All right, let's go to approval of invoices. Carol and Bennett Associates for number 5885 for $13,387.50. And number, you want to do individually or together?
Don't together.
And then 5866 for $14,280.
So moved.
Second?
And as always, Tony, you reviewed these and these.
Yes, and you're getting two of them this month because the other one came in just after last month's meeting, so that's actually October's and current November's. November for October and October's for September.
Any motion, second, any other discussion?
Yeah, what's the remaining balance on that account?
Architect remaining balance,
That's 30.
about 38,000.
Okay.
So is that after these or before these are paid?
After.
After,
My
that's what I
reports
thought.
always include these
Yes,
as
that's what I
being
thought.
approved. Yep.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Number 2 is the REC bills appropriated for, number 7, invoice number 7 for $604,184.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion?
Remaining balance on that one as well?
$1,008,000.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Crowley International, number 22722 for $9,216.67, and number 22934 for $9,216.67.
So moved.
Second.
Remaining balance.
Why not?
We don't want to.
Gotta run the table.
62.
All in favor?
Okay.
Aye.
Yankee Engineering and Testing, number 25504 for $4,678.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, so where does this leave us with the whole soils and lawsuit, and do we have totals on what that whole issue has come
That's all.
to? Do we have a timeline that we're gonna pursue it?
I think basically it's out of the hands of the building committee, it's in the Board of Selectmen's hands now. So we
Okay.
talked
I
about
can
it.
report I did my part in
We have
draft.
everything we need from Tony, and
So what's
it's an
the,
executive session with the Board of Selectmen.
is there a number, or is that not for public consumption?
I don't know,
I don't think giving the number is gonna hurt the ability of the
was it
town to
roughly
recruit.
around 100?
It was just under 100,000.
Well,
So
So
that 100
from
that
what
we
we're-
just had.
we're originally speculating it was gonna be over 100, but
It was right around there.
Any other discussion?
so this is the last of the invoices associated with that?
This isn't,
With Yankee?
This is testing for the cement, isn't it?
Yeah, Yankee is construction testing, so they were out, this invoice is actually for pavement binder. They'll be back. We're pouring more concrete next week. There'll be concrete testing. When they come back in the spring and do final pavement, they'll do pavement testing as well.
This has nothing to do with that.
No.
issue.
Okay.
No.
All right, is there a vote?
Yeah, we
Not yet.
second.
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
All right, Alliance invoice number 606-44531 for $817.50, and number 608-35746 for $1,620.
So moved.
Wait a second.
Second.
What were these for?
That is the hazmat guy for testing the hazardous soils that was left in the building footprint.
These are included.
That is included,
Any other
yes.
discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, and B and L bills, invoice number 25839 for $479.96.
Those are the light fixtures for over the pool tables. 2 light fixtures.
Billiards. That's probably
Good clue, huh?
dead giveaway. So moved.
That
Second.
Any other discussion?
Can I just ask, Tony, on the description, it says 3 shade,
3 lamp.
so that's, we're not getting 3, we're getting the 2, the quantity.
It's 2 lights. and
2
each one has
fixtures,
3.
there's 3
Oh,
lamps on
okay.
each
All right,
fixture.
because I was looking at this, I was like.
You know, they're kind of like center and
Haven't you
2.
ever been in a pool hall before?
Yeah.
It's
What
been a
are those?
while.
It's been a while,
All right,
back in the day.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right, anybody else have anything for meeting?
Yeah, I do. I found the conversation about the building electronics a little troubling personally. We posed this building to the general public as a community center. And my fear is that the seniors are being a little myopic and they're only setting the building up for their explicit needs. So if we're really looking at this as a community center, is there anyone looking at it from an electronic infrastructure standpoint as a community center? Has anyone even had that conversation with how else it might be used?
What else would you change that is not on there?
Well, I've been away, I haven't been to one of these meetings in a good bit over 2 months, but Although the seniors may not be interested in doing any kind of conferencing, there might be other uses for it. You know, the wiring for the main room, they talk about doing movies. Is there anything else anyone else might want to do? Are there, you know, loudspeaker systems, audio connections? You know, if it were a public forum, do we have the infrastructure in that room to do what we might want to do?
Yeah, that's a good point, right? Like, if we wanted to have town meeting there, for instance, is it going to be equipped that we'll be able to do town meeting? I don't know the answer to that, and I'm concerned about the computers not being big monitors.
I've got a lot of
That's the
concerns
first
about
that
pretty
I've
much
heard of
everything I've
that.
heard. I didn't have a problem voting for this proposal because the things that he's putting in from a backbone standpoint seem to be expandable. And they can add phones. I'm not too concerned with that, but you know, this is the time to put in whatever we want to put in. I mean, look at what we ran into at the police station. How many revisions did we go through to get the video TV connection thing correct?
Well, to add to that too, if everything's a handset and a laptop, at night when some group uses it, that's all locked in the office.
Well,
There's no phones.
it could be left out. I mean, you know, if it's a group that needs to use the computers or whatever, they would sign up for that, and that would be left available for them. Whoever the person of responsibility for that event would make sure that they get returned to the cabinets.
Again, that's why I would
Yeah,
not want a laptop, because that's more the reason why, you know, they break easier, they're more fragile, the monitors are smaller. If it's a tabletop or a desktop.
So it seems like everybody's thinking we should add like a couple of desk units.
And
I certainly feel that way. I'm not gonna foist an opinion, but, you know, I think there should be some fixed infrastructure in the building that is not potable. And I think having a, you know, a public access telephone that is not a handheld unit would be a really good idea. Again, what are the other groups that might be using the building and what might their needs be? If we're really looking at this community center, when we're not addressing that.
No, and at one point, we also talked about it being the place that we might go to vote instead of the church or something like that.
Yeah.
And is it gonna be set up for that
Can it
too?
do voting? Yeah,
And
and that's
I don't
perfectly,
know, that and town meeting or something that I sat here, I was thinking about, if this, you know, who says we're gonna keep using the school? I have no idea, but another option, is that going to be able to handle, is the right equipment going to be there in order to present something like that?
I don't
Is
think,
is the projector and the screen in the classroom, or is it in the large multi-use room?
There's one in each.
Okay. I would say that
But
there
they have-
shouldn't be anything that prevents it. I mean, a sound system can be a
Microphone.
separate system. It doesn't have to be hardwired necessarily.
So they have that, they have a big sound system that could carry an event like that?
Well, right now, I'm just getting, the building is kind of conduit and pull strings, and I'm just now getting vendors to come in and look at audio, video equipment, which is why I say that's a separate budget. But to answer the question of who else is looking at it, right now, it is just Lisa and I looking at, what do you need? And Phil and a few others have talked about what's needed for the great room, for music, for stage, for those kind of things. But nobody outside of that small group has said, well, if this entity uses it at night, this is what they would need. We don't have anybody else coming with any requirements or asking, can we do A, B, or C? So the only input I'm getting is, when there's a stage performance, we need the sound system, we need amplifiers, we need volume control here, there, and there. And when people are in the multi-purpose room playing Wii bowling or whatever, here's what that needs to do. So it's a really simple system right now, and it's only internal to that room. The training classroom is only internal to that room. Right now, there's no real kind of, hey, if there's something going on, can we broadcast it out, or a town meeting? You know, the thought always was, and we do have some capability, some outlets down at the, kind of the kitchen end, if you're familiar with thinking about that room. So down the back of the room, where somebody could set up a tripod and a camera and either project out or record for later distribution, is how that would be.
And we did the key system, we finally did the system that can be given a code and someone can get into the building at night.
Yes.
So we're making that part easy, but then they're still gonna have to come to get laptops and phones.
But whatever they need for
Well,
equipment, we're not,
The phone, I disagree with that you need a public access phone. Does anybody at this table not have a phone in their pocket? Everybody that is going into that senior center, 95% of the users or more are gonna have a phone in their pocket. We don't need to have a public access phone. We just don't. If you're using the senior center and you're Lisa, yes, people need to be able to call the senior center. But if you're using the senior center after hours and you're a group that is meeting there, you don't need to be able to call the senior center.
What about a computer?
That's a different story.
I think, I kind of agree with both guys, that we should have a couple of fixed computers. I mean,
Well, I don't want to get too myopic on this, and that's my problem with this whole thing overall. I think we're looking at it too small a perspective. Again, we made the promises, this is a community center. We're not handling it as a community center from an electronic.
I think we're using the wrong, I think we went through all the meetings and we talked about community. The community will have use of the building. A community center is something that's opened from 8 in the morning till 10 at night. Anybody can just say, I'm gonna go down to the community center and meet my friends. So, I mean, we looked at different definitions and we went through this a lot. We had groups come forward to ask what they would use it for. We didn't get a ton of input for that part of it, but I think a community center, it is a community center. The seniors unit, they're part of the community. It's a community center. So if other groups want to use it, they can ask, they can fill out the same form that's in place now for using the senior center. And Lisa will give them access to the building. I'm not sure from there what more your definition of a community center is.
You're getting hung up on a word. Let's not get hung up on a word.
Well, that's all we're using,
So,
is community center.
We talked about it being available for community uses.
Correct.
So
And it is.
call it whatever you want. Call it Fred.
But it is
Are we
available.
building it in such a way that it has some flexibility?
Well, I think the lock.
well, I'm just saying, if you're looking to me, I'm not getting, you're saying, are we building it for anybody other than the myopic seniors? They're the only ones I'm working with that's giving me any input as to what we should be pricing, what we should be buying. Unless this group has some other, and I've brought to you, hey, do we want to put fiber in? It was planned a year ago. There was a conversation 2 meetings ago where that smaller group felt, we don't need fiber. If we're going with Ring Central, we don't even need the fiber. Why are we putting it in? Because things may change and it's a lot cheaper to put it in now. And this is great, it's gonna be connected. Right now, the only thing that's gonna feed over it is maybe the alarm system. Okay. What else? Now, you may find a year down the road, geez, we do wanna do some type of video conferencing, which is gonna come out much clearer and offer you much more bandwidth over fiber than some dial-up or iffy
Not gonna be
kind of
dial-up.
wireless. Huh?
I don't think it's gonna be
I don't think so either.
I mean, don't tell, yeah.
We're putting in fiber and we're not bringing in the ISP via fiber?
But you're putting in fiber, but we're not doing the voice over IP, right?
Small.
What else are we doing?
We're not bringing in the internet service via fiber?
Yeah.
They
Internet, right,
Okay, so,
So that would be plenty fast, I mean.
right.
and if I'm the only one that feels this way, I'm fine, but when I see an electronics budget in this day and age go from 42K to 13, it sounds
yeah,
like
but
all kinds of
that
alarm
didn't
bells.
include the wiring.
So it's 20,000 in the backbone wiring, so it's 42 to 33. To be,
All right, didn't catch that bit.
So my other, just,
last Wednesday, we approved the wiring, voice and data wiring.
Okay, what wasn't here for that.
Maybe we should, I would suggest that we reconnect, and I wish Lisa hadn't left, about the type of computers that we are gonna put in, and maybe that, like she said, a donation. I don't know if they've got a particular person and that's already taken care of, or they're fundraising, but I'd hate to have them walk in and say, now we need another 4 computers permanent with big screens.
But it's just buying the computers, isn't it? It's not anything to do with wiring. 'Cause
No,
the
now it's
jacks are
all
there.
wired.
No, I just
No,
brought
right.
up
If they're
the
stations
versus the
with,
laptops.
if they're wired, if they're 4 stations next to each other and there's one plug,
Yeah.
That's
they're
gonna
not
be
gonna
a
be
problem.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. They just put in a local plug.
and then just break it off into 4. So I guess you're right, there's no issue today that has to be decided,
Yeah.
because those computers can be purchased.
And the audio, video proposals, I will get to this group in advance of our next meeting, so that maybe you can foster some of those same questions. Hey, are we connecting this? Are we providing sound here? Why only this room? What if we want to televise the big billiard match?
So there's no, you won't be able to broadcast audio throughout the building?
Broadcast
If
audio,
I,
Intercom.
no.
There are speakers.
Christmas music?
No.
just in general,
There's no
No.
speakers
Just-
in the building.
No, it's not wired.
The only intercom capability is going to be over the
Yeah, but they're all
Ring
wireless now,
Central.
aren't they? Isn't
What's
everything wireless?
If you bought wireless speakers for everywhere,
No,
sure.
if you were to have a building with a paging system, it'd probably be wired. If
Yeah.
it was a new building, it'd be wired.
So if I call the senior center and I'm looking for Mary Grace, I call the senior center, there's not an intercom to say
But the
Mary
phones
Grace.
all- the
but
phones are
so-
intercom.
but the
Whoever
phones
answers
will-
has ability over those 4 phones
To say,
to say, hey, Chris, where are you? Mary's on line 1.
Okay.
Okay.
how much would it cost to add, or is it even possible, to add a wired audio capability to throughout the building?
it's not.
I mean, the ceilings aren't closed up. I mean, it's certainly possible.
The system, the foot, it costs,
I have no idea.
12, 15 speakers, wiring,
and the system to make it all work.
and an amplifier.
Yeah.
15, 20 grand?
So that kind of tells me that we wouldn't be able to do a town meeting there.
That wouldn't,
Is that separate?
that would be
Because-
just,
That's just internal to the building.
yeah, that would be the building.
Okay.
If you're saying some type of amplifying system in that room, there's not. I asked about that. Is there an amplifying system in the great room?
In the great room, there are volume controls which tie back to a single amplifier
Yeah, we don't
for
have
that
it.
room.
That's if someone brings it in.
Right.
Okay.
They would need to plug in their amp, set up their show, and tie into the speakers.
See, personally, I think town meeting at the school twice a year is probably the best place for it. Maybe somebody in years to come will disagree, but we have plenty of parking. If the room's too big, I mean, we have plenty of room. That's my thought, but I mean, anybody can say differently down the road.
I'm just,
But you're not playing Christmas music throughout the whole building.
I'm just asking the questions, thinking, all right, it's $20,000, is there a need for it? I don't know.
I don't think an intercom system.
But I think I think we definitely will look to voting there.
Voting,
Yes, do we know that it has what it needs to support the voting machine? I don't even.
Well, we use the church now, so I can't imagine this
Is
has
it
less than
actually
the
They're
church
not
has.
hardwired, they're individual computers.
And they get pulled out and brought, yeah, they're not wired like Brickville.
They're not connected to the internet.
No.
I don't know. That's why the city of Worcester had early voting in locations they just brought the box in.
All right,
So I'm happy to meet with anybody, because we're now doing furniture, fixtures, equipment, over the next month, whoever wants to weigh in on it. Happy to sit with you and go over the plans of exactly what's being priced where.
Siobhan, you started to mention that maybe we should ask Lisa to do more outreach, to just confirm that people are comfortable with the non-stationed computers.
I don't think it could hurt, And I guess I'm used to seeing them permanently installed in libraries and places like that. So, and not that people would walk away, but, you know, stranger things have happened. And when you have laptops or iPads and you're trying to teach people, if you only have one iPad and they don't,
Communal
I just
laptops get
question.
broken.
Huh?
Communal laptops get broken, no
Right.
matter how much care you.
Or go walking away.
Right, that or walk away. So I'm skeptical of the laptops. I just
Yeah,
wonder.
no, I think we all agree with that, but to ask Lisa to reach out to groups that may use the building, I mean, how, we can't expect.
She
it.
doesn't
I think we
have
should just purchase a couple of laptops.
No,
I mean,
desktops.
Desktops with towers and a nice, like
Monitor.
Ray said, a big, good-sized monitor and leave them in there.
But then, just a computer, what are we gonna put on it? Is it just gonna have Word? Then, is it gonna have any type of?
Word and internet. Or
Yeah, so, I mean, then.
Office and internet.
Well, and she did make a comment that it's not just a computer room. So I
Right.
don't know if that would run interference if,
I mean, two.
If she
yeah,
wants to be able to put
two
everything
workstations.
away, towers are gonna be an issue.
Like what?
If she wants to be able to put everything away when it's used for something else, towers will be a problem.
Why don't we ask her to give us more input on
Yeah.
it for our next meeting?
Okay.
Because we
Yeah,
can,
I mean, case in point, visually impaired people, I mean, they have visually impaired keyboards,
Right.
you need a big screen,
Right.
and we'll probably have some of those.
and if it's not in the budget, I want to make sure she does have the funding already in hand for it because that would impact this. She said she either had fundraising
Donations.
or donations. Just want to make sure that if she needs 5 or 6, she's got it in hand.
well, as we just learned, we really don't have a ton of money left from this. We
Right.
saw this 13,000, but it's not off the 40-something.
Right.
It's
Right.
more like 8,000 left. It's more like 8,000 left out of this budget.
You think they could read that small print?
No, I'm just saying, we're talking about, I think most of it.
From that budget line.
From this line, right.
It's
From the bottom line, there's $194,000.
Right, but the project's not done yet.
All right. Anything else? Next meeting, when's the day's selectmen's meeting?
Our next
December,
one's
So
the
this, you
28th.
want this next meeting?
No, I want the, this next meeting.
It would be the second,
December
the
12th.
Did we moved
12,
our
12.
21st selectmen's meeting, did we
Yeah,
not?
to the
27th,
27th, no, 28th, because I can't be here. So I-
Just for you?
Chris, I don't think I'll make it
so the
on the 28th.
28th. So the 12th, we're doing our regular building meeting like always.
Yes.
All right? Yeah, motion?
My motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
So the 12th, Wednesday the 12th.
Now I have a comment.
I was there
about
for a while.
the
I had
phones.
heard rumor back through.
What I
the-
will